22 subscribers now. Moving up in the world, eh, Purse? Wait a minute. I've made 18 videos now, and there's no appetizers. There's no appetizers! What's up, everyone? My name is Tim. I am the Dizzy Daddy, and welcome to DizzyDaddyTV. I've had the pleasure of putting out 18 videos now. For those of you who watch some of them, or maybe all of them, I really appreciate it. This channel sprang up because I basically found myself with a little bit more spare time than I usually have, so I've been really enjoying that. And yes, it's true, I just realized that there's no appetizers on my channel yet. There's fries and stuff, but there's no real appetizer. The appetizer section is my favorite section of any menu. So what I've got for you today is something you've probably heard of before, Beef Tataki, which is basically just rare beef sliced thinly and then dressed with a bit of ponzu sauce. It's basically a beef salad. It's really delicious. It's one of the most popular menu items in Japanese restaurants, but what people don't realize is just how easy it is to make. It's ridiculously easy. And I'm hungry, so let's make that right now. So our ingredient list is pretty sparse for this one, but like a lot of things with few ingredients, it does pack a lot of flavor. So, first and foremost, our meat. This is a strip loin. I find it just the easiest cut of meat to work with for this dish. If you can get one that's about an inch thick, that's perfect. Next, we have an onion. This is just garnish, but for me, it's very important. I like onions with this recipe. Green onions. They always need something to make it pretty. Salt and pepper just to season. And of course, our dressing. Ponzu sauce, which is a citrusy, soy saucy vinaigrette sort of thing. Now this is pretty easy to find in almost any supermarket nowadays. But if you don't have this, you can approximate it. It is 1 tablespoon of Japanese soy sauce, 1 tablespoon of lemon juice, 1 teaspoon of vinegar, just white vinegar, and half a teaspoon of sugar. And that'll get you something very close to this. So first things first, let's trim this guy up. So let's just prep the meat. Now this strip loin has been sitting out at room temperature for a little more than an hour. You always want to temper your meats. I believe I've said this before in a previous video. Whenever you're cooking any kind of protein, be it red meat, poultry, anything, you have to leave it out for at least half an hour, preferably an hour or two. It needs to warm up because if you try to cook with stone cold meats, you're gonna get uneven cooking, you're gonna get maybe uncooked stuff. It's just a basic thing that makes life easier when you're doing this stuff. Okay, so let's trim the fat and gristle off of here. Now I know if we were making a steak, we'd leave it on, right? Who doesn't love a little bit of fat? But for this, we just want the solid protein. It just gets it out of the way and it prevents any kind of curling, right? Whenever you have a strip of fat, it'll sometimes curl this way or the other. We want this to be fairly uniform and just a block of seared off meat. So let's trim it up. Okay, so that's more or less clean. We've pretty much gotten all the fat and gristle off of it. So now I'm just gonna put this to the side and we're gonna prep our onion. So we're gonna take half of it. And we're gonna cut as thin slices as possible. Now we're gonna toss them in a bowl. And we're going to liberally salt these. And then we're going to give them a good massage for a couple minutes. Now what this does is break down the structure and draw out the liquid. This isn't seasoning. We're going to wash all the salt off and then squeeze out the liquid. Okay, so I've rinsed the onions and squeezed them out in a paper towel. They are now rid of their moisture and ready to be used. Okay, let's cook the beef. So I've got our fry pan heating up on medium heat here. It's getting nice and warm. Now you can use a cast iron pan for this, but it's not necessary. This is not a steak that we're cooking, so we're not looking to get that nice crust on it. You can just use a regular frying pan, or you could use a cast iron. I just find they're a pain in the neck to clean afterwards, so yeah, I'm just gonna go with the regular frying pan. Just gonna give this a quick seasoning. I realize that you probably really don't have to since it's gonna be seasoned with the ponzu later, but I don't know. Just makes me happy to season my meat. It's getting good and hot, so I'm just gonna go in with a tiny bit of oil here. And I'm just gonna spread it around with a paper towel just to get a nice film of it, but not too much oil. And you can cook this medium rare. I'm gonna go for rare today. I'm gonna put this on maybe 2 to 3 minutes on each side and then sear off the edges. It's been about 3 minutes. You can see that color or opaqueness has kind of creeped up about 1/5 of the way up the steak. So we're just gonna turn this over. Ooh, and there is nice color on there. Okay, and we're gonna go for another 2 minutes, I'd say, on this side, and then we'll have a quick poke at it. Okay, it's been another 2 minutes, and according to my poke test, it is getting close. Now, I don't usually do this, but let's just see what the temperature is. Okay, that is still cool in the center, just the way we want it. It's reading at about 115 degrees. We want it to get to about 120. Now, I realize that this is pretty low, so again, if that makes you nervous, by all means, cook it a bit longer. But I like it quite rare. Okay, so we're just gonna seal off the edges and the ends. And that's feeling pretty good. So I'm gonna take that off. We're gonna rest that for a good 15 minutes. This has been resting for about 15 minutes. Since this is a cold dish, you can actually wrap this up and throw it in the refrigerator and basically bring it out and slice it cold. That way it's much easier to slice thin, and you can prep this way ahead of time. Okay, but today we don't have that kind of time, so we're just going to cut it. And here's a nice good part. Okay, so I'm gonna cut it on a bit of a bias here. And that is looking nice and pink. Okay, that's about half the steak cut. That should be enough for an appetizer sized portion. Let's plate this up. Okay, all done. I put a little bit of chili garlic sauce on top of the onions. My wife likes it that way. A little bit of green onion for beauty, and doused it all with ponzu. Yes, very pretty. Okay, let's eat it. Let's try this out. Take some of the onions, put it on the beef. That's so refreshing. Now, of course, when I make this for my kids, I don't put all the onions and all that stuff because, well, they're just not into it. But as an adult, this is what makes it. That is the ultimate beef salad. Okay, you can check that off the list. We have appetizers on DizzyDaddyTV. I love appetizers, I really do. I don't know why it took me this long to put one on there, but there will be many more to follow. Thank you once again for dropping by. I really do appreciate it. If you like this video, please do like, subscribe, notification bell, all that jazz, and I'll see you next time with something else. Take care.